The flooding in the Western Cape has caused major havoc, resulting in the death of 2 people, severely damaging infrastructure and disrupting agriculture harvests. A major concern is the loss of an estimated several thousand beehives that were washed away during the flooding. Bees are tough little creatures able to thrive almost anywhere. But the only place in the world without beehives is Antarctica. But as climate change brings on extreme weather patterns, temperature changes and rising sea levels, even this adaptable species is being affected. Climate change is already contributing to declining populations of honeybees and other bee species, thanks to reduced habitats and changing patterns of plant growth over the seasons. Let's discuss this further. We're joined via Zoom by Professor Abdullahi Ahmed Yusuf from the Social Insects Research Group at the University of Pretoria. Prof, good afternoon. Thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Given the changing dynamics occurring, obviously affecting the population of bees, walk us through the factors that may be contributing to the decline of the bee population.
Yeah, so there are many factors that are responsible for declining of bee population. But before we go further, I wanted to say that when we talk of bees, as humans, we only think of one species, but there are about 20,000 species of bees out there that are doing equally the ecosystem services that bees do provide. So part of the things that are responsible for the decline in populations of bees, which most of them are anthropogenic factors, or factors that are caused by human bees, include land transformation, include pesticides use, intensive agriculture, and pests and diseases, as well as also pure keeping of bees. So climate change is what I would refer to as a force multiplier, which adds to all these challenges that bees are facing. So climate change, as you rightly mentioned, so things like disruptive rainfall patterns, wildfires and floods do destroy bee habitats, and that means they destroy the food sources of bees. Also drought, reduce forage, as well as monocultures.
Prof, thank you for that context. You've spoken about the anthropogenic impact, climate change, environmental pressures that are affecting the bee population. I wonder, for those who have tuned in, why we should be worried about the decline in bee population in relation to our survival. Why are they essential to people and the planet at large?
Yeah, we should be worried and very concerned because bees provide an ecosystem service which you cannot value in terms of in terms of monetary. So they provide this essential service which is known as pollination. So in other words, bees are an insect that pollinates, provide this service where they move the male plant part into the female, which is known as fertilization or pollination, without which we will not have plants and bear fruits or seeds. So, and the insects in general are responsible for about 30% of pollination, and when we look at it in our own existence as humans, that is responsible for about 80% of all agricultural products. So to put it in context, it's like if we don't have insects or bees that pollinate, we will have less choices of fruits and veggies. So just look at the fact that we don't have about 70% of the fruit and vegetables and food products that we rely on as humans. So that will be a grave consequence, and it's a vacuum that if such an event happens, we will not be able to feel it as humans.
So with the 20th of May observed as World Bee Day by the United Nations, at this point, what urgent action is required from all along the value chain to ensure the survival of the bee population for the well-being of people and the planet at large? Okay,
one of the things is, the first thing is educating people and communities about bees and their importance to our food system. That is to ensure that we create more pollinator-friendly world. And one of the things that we should do as humans is also creating safe bee spaces for for bees and pollinators. This could be in our gardens, and also those of us who are into agricultural food production try as much as possible to be good and kind to nature. Nature has provided us with the services, or is providing us with services free of charge. We should be responsible custodians so that we preserve this art for our upcoming generations. Otherwise, we would be blamed for it, and they would not forgive us for that. So it's all, and all we can do all our best in our own little ways. There is nothing little in terms of conserving and protecting this precious art that we live in.
No, absolutely. I think when we look at the ecology and the biology of bee species, I wonder if we've begun to explore surrogate species in conservation efforts at this point, given what is happening to the bee population, or how we can complement the survival of the bee population. Is enough funding and resources also going in preserving the population? Help us understand what's happening on that front.
Yeah, we're doing very little, to be honest, in terms of protecting these precious resources that we have. So there should be more effort that is being done. That should be done. So, like many other sectors, there is no much funding. So, in terms of surrogacy, unfortunately, we cannot do that with bees. Like I mentioned, that there are about 22,000 species of bees, and the one that we know of, which we are more concerned of, is the honeybee, and this is because of its long-term relationship with humans. So what is actually happening is more than what we could see, because look at the solitary bees. So let me put this in context. Of these 20,000 species, South Africa alone harvests more than 1,000 species. And then if you could ask many people, even scientists or colleagues, it's very difficult for one to tell you about 10 different types of bees. So we should really be concerned, and there should be concerted efforts, and these efforts should be all encompassing from what we do. So one of the problems that I had mentioned that is affecting bees is habitat transformation. So how many times in our quest for development as humans, we destroying habitats. And also there is or when people have swarms of bees that move into their houses, instead of calling for people that are professionals to remove the bees, but the instinct that comes to us is to kill them. So what happened in that instance is that when you kill a bee colony, you are exterminating an important resources that cannot be replaced out there.
No, absolutely. Prof, thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.